So we have really talked about a number of aspects since we started. Basic JavaScript that you did, we working calling data from within HTML. Then we displayed the data and the HTML part, but we use maybe something like inner SQL or something like that. So you remember?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
Yeah, so like today, I want us to just try a very basic crude. We interact with the database, the one I showed you. Like you can see, mine is already on, my SQL is already on, and the Apache is on. You can be able to access it through the browser. It's here. You can be able to access it here. Can be able to see a number of databases. So we want us to have a simple database whereby in this database I can be able to get basically the just name and email. I can be able to send name and email to the server, and again I can be able to retrieve them. I should be able to delete them.
yeah,
Because you remember the other day I told you if you have something like this here, you can be able to write an SQL query to add something inside the table. You remember?
mm,
And you try,
yeah. I remember.
or you can use the graphical way here to just come here and say maybe you want to delete this one. You click it, then you delete that way. I think this part you did understand it very well.
Yeah,
Or
but like I have a question. What's more like what's the preferred way of doing this? Is it using the SQL or the graphical method?
the okay, this really depends, but it really depends. But you see the SQL way will assist you in many other aspects. So I think if
Oh,
you can try the SQL way, it will be easy for you.
okay.
Because I can come basically then just insert then Sydney, maybe email sydney.com. Then I can be able to see it. So in this project, we'll introduce something small, just a very small script, though we won't dwell so much deep into it. PHP. PHP will basically assist us with the connection between the our JavaScript and HTML code, and now with the database.
Yeah, okay.
So that we have that connection, I can be able to create a name and email, and I can be able to retrieve it.
Yeah,
So there's this code that I had worked on. I don't know what it is. Yeah. So there's this code that I had worked in. I think this is just basic JavaScript and CSS. It's a basic crude app. This is styling for the body. I'm sure you have no problem with this. You'll understand. Just basic styling.
yeah,
The background color, the display, and all that. Then the tags, H1 tag styling, then the form that we'll be using. Because I told you the most easy way to send data to the database is to be having a form whereby we can have various input fields. Of course, the various input fields should also understand the variables determine the input field that you have. The data types, the maybe name for string, age, number, boolean, yes, no. We have yeah, all those lists. Maybe you can also try lists at some time. But now all that works with the form.
mm,
So the we have here the now the HTML part. It just I call it that way. Then you have the form here. Can you see it well, or as I zoom out a bit?
yeah.
Ryan, are you in? Can you hear me?
Oh, no, I see it well.
You see it well, okay. So these are the input fields. So it should be
Uh,
yeah,
yeah,
the name.
yeah, I can.
Then you can see first of all the ID. I told you ID is always very important because at the front there I'll show you how in HTML is calling this ID and all that. Then we have the ID for email as well. Then you can be able to save it. Then we have at the bottom you have a table that is basically displaying that specific data.
Yeah,
Maybe the name, the email, the ID, and all that. Then there's here the ID, another ID. So these are three IDs: name, email. Okay, user ID. It's here. The name and the email. Then here there's just the ID for the table, the whole table now.
Yeah.
Then at the bottom here you can see my project is linking to crude.js, an external file but stored in the same in the same location.
Yeah.
Now the importance of file structure comes in there. So let me try just open that project in the on the display. So once I open it with my small styling, this is what it shows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just the name, one, two here and there.
Yeah.
So basically that's what it shows. The name and the email and all that. No, that's no problem. So this is the HTML part. Then we have the JavaScript part now, where all the magic happens.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
First of all, we have here a number of functions. The first function here is we are getting the form, because you see this form, it has an ID. I forgot the ID for the form. You can see the form ID.
Yeah. Crude form.
Yeah, crude form. So in the else here we are getting the element, getting element by ID. You remember?
Yeah.
So we are getting the crude form as reference from the ID. Then from here you can be able to see that we also can be able to get the value of the user ID, the value of name, and the value of email by referencing on the ID part on the other side. I think you can get fine there with me.
Yeah.
Then we are now fetching something, the other file that is crude.php. There, I think I'll have to explain so much that at least maybe you can get it. So we are getting from crude.php. Then, because here we want to basically post data on the other side. So you can see the method for posting data, for sending data to the server is post. If you want to maybe save data, you'll use post as the best way, as the best method. Then this header shouldn't really complicate you. This one I'll show you I'll be getting. Then
Okay.
you can be able to, this is the body aspect. Basically, it's just showing us the action. Called the first thing is the ID, then the second thing is the name, then the third thing is the email.
Yeah. Mhm.
Just a minute.
Okay.
Hello. Uh-huh. Hizi leo mimi nilikuwa those size tukafanya shughuli mfiti sana na zako wewe kutokea. Uliza hata Jenny. Wewe sasa ninafaa ureplicate. Eh. Eka tu bwana. Eka tu. Tu si mshahara iliingia. Niliona it was posted yesterday by the way. It was posted yesterday. Maybe ijaingia tu kwa account but maybe from today it will start. Ah, ni sawa, no problem. Nimekuwa some meeting. Acha nimalize. Some meeting, online meeting. Maybe I can call you when I finish in like 20 minutes. Run.
Yeah.
We can proceed. So there are three things here. I think we can go through crude.php so that you can see what is it showing us. So basically, this one is just this is
Yeah.
crude.php. It's assisting us to interact now with the XAMPP, with the local, with this one. So basically,
Yeah.
the server name, since it's local, so you can see from my browser. If you are not getting something, kindly tell me so that I don't move very fast. You can see from my browser, the server is hosted
Okay.
locally. It's called localhost.
Yeah.
So this one, the part localhost now derives the server name here. Are we together?
Okay. Yeah.
Then the username is
Yeah.
the root because that is the default XAMPP username, just a root, of course. And then the password is
Yeah.
blank. The password is blank. You can set your password anytime, or even you can have the another name. Maybe you say Ryan. You want to have a user called Ryan, then you call it maybe a specific password. Let me show you from this part. You can see at this part we have the user is root. You can see at this part here. But
Yeah. Root as localhost.
yeah, but you can be able to create any user that you want, especially when you now go to the live, when you go online. And even here at user
How?
accounts, you see you can be able to add a user account here.
Oh. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, then you give them maybe what you want, the a number of things. Complicated, but don't worry. So
Okay.
the default username is root and the default password is just a blank password.
Yeah.
Then I created my database name called SQL test.
Yeah. Yeah.
That database is here. Remember, I showed you, you just creating a database. You can just come here, basically new, then you are able to create a database name
Yeah.
the way you want. Are we together?
Yes.
So after that, there's this part here, the connection. We basically want to test if the credentials are working. So the connection has to call the server name. Remember, these are the variables: the server name, the username,
Mm-hmm.
and the password, and the database name. I think this
Yeah.
part you can understand how they are related.
Uh. Yeah. Yeah. I do. I do.
You do.
A bit. I think I do.
Okay, fine, fine. I
Yeah.
think I'll share with you this code also so that maybe you can. Because I know we are now getting to some complex aspects, but you
Yeah.
see, you like these complex things.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, fine. So this specific part is basically telling us if this connection at the top is not successful, then it should die. Die means there's like it shouldn't work. If the connection, if the password maybe is not working, the username or something like that, then it should kill the connection. If
Yeah.
else statement, you remember. But if it's okay, now we can proceed with this action, any action. If
Yeah.
action is selected, do this and this. If not, don't do something in that.
Yeah.
Then we are back to CRUD, create, read, update, and delete.
Yeah.
So this specific first part is telling us if the action is create, go ahead
Mhm.
and get the variable name and email, and then do the SQL query. The one you are asking me whether to use the graphical part or SQL, which one is better. So you see that is an SQL query run.
Yeah. It is.
Insert into users table. The field is name and email. The
Yeah.
values name and email. I think we talked about that sometimes back.
Yeah. We did.
Yeah. So it will be able to now go ahead and insert into that is now creating. Then it will be able to give us the message that it's a success or whether it's an error.
Yeah.
Else if the action is read I told you is basically I want to fetch data. The
Mm-hmm.
results, you can just see results here. Then we are calling the connection. The connection here is this variable here at the top that we
Yeah.
we use to authenticate with this detail that we had.
Yeah.
So if the action is read, then I should be able to select from user. Remember this SQL command here, Ryan?
Yeah. I do.
Yeah. So you see, it's just the SQL part is better now. Then
Yeah.
then it will be able just to format that data in a JSON format. It's here in a JSON format, and it's be able to call the data.
Yeah.
The third thing, create, we finished. Read, update now. Update. If the action is update, I go ahead and first of all you need the ID, because you remember to update anything, because updating that record already exists in the database. So to
Yeah.
update it, you need to call maybe Sydney is ID number 1 or 5 or 8. Remember we talked of IDs being unique values. You remember?
Yeah.
That's why IDs you can set them to be auto-generated, so that if I've selected my ID, if I've created a new user, I just enter name and email, but it will now get it will select the ID on itself. Because you can see from this part of creating at the top here, there's no
Mm-hmm.
ID. It's just the
Yeah.
name and the email. So the ID will be pre-populated on its own.
Yeah.
I hope you're together.
Yeah. We are.
But now with aspect to updating, we need first of all the ID. We need the ID because this data was already entered. So we need to know exactly I want to update data for which and which. So I'll get the ID. Then now I can be able to work around on updating the name and the email. But you can see again this SQL command here.
Yeah.
Isn't it? You can see there's consistency.
Yeah. There is.
Yeah.
There is. It's the same. It's the same thing.
Yeah. Then there's if the action is delete, we first of all need to get the ID of that student or that user or that specific thing for someone.
Yeah.
Then once we get it, we can use this specific command delete from the users table where the ID is equals to 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But you should see this one here. I'm not being told that maybe ID is equals to there's this is a variable now, because
Yeah.
IDs will differ according to what JavaScript now renders to us.
Yeah.
Because if we say here ID is equals to 1, every time I delete it will only want to delete 1 alone. But it keeps varying, so it's a variable.
Yeah. Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Then at the end, there's the close part.
Connect. Yeah.
So basically, you should understand first of all, you need to create a connection to the database. Now our current database is local. We create a database by entering the username and the password and the database itself. Then we try to query if the connection is successful. Because for instance, if this XAMPP was off, MySQL was off, it
Mm-hmm.
couldn't query anything because our server, our database server is off.
So it needs to constantly be on.
Yeah, because you see, for this one it's local, but once the one like for cPanel, it's online. That one, once you've set it and it points in a specific part, you'll always be fine. But this one it's local.
Okay.
That's why we use XAMPP for testing purposes in your local machine. But once you deploy online, you'll use again XAMPP, the online XAMPP. But once it's online, it will keep on being online.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope we are together there.
Yeah. We are.
So back to the JS part.
Mm-hmm.
Document by ID. This one here we are calling the form. Then with the event listener, you can be able to submit something here and there.
Yeah.
So then there's this place for fetching users. We want to get all users.
Yeah.
So basically, we just call again. We have to reference to crew.php. Then the action is read. You remember there's this part where I was telling you if action is, you see, if action is create, if action is read, you remember.
Yeah.
So here we are being told the action is read. Action equals to read.
Yeah.
So it will go to the PHP aspect because you see here we are fetching from crew.php, this file,
Yeah.
and it will want to take the action for read, or which action for read is basically calling all users from with the
Yeah.
SQL.
Yeah.
So it's able to call all users. Then it's able now to to get the this now the HTML part.
Yeah.
It's able to use a table. Now it's this part here, table by ID.
Yeah.
Are you together?
Yes.
So it's able to now get that. Then it's able to do something in HTML. This part you told me you understood so much, and we had told you there's there's inner text, then there is inner HTML. Whereby inner HTML you can be able to insert HTML data inside. Now maybe a specific part.
Yeah.
So here we are querying from the PHP and the backend. Then we are able to insert in via in HTML. This you see this is a table draw,
Yeah.
but now we are inserting the ID user.id, the user.name, and the user.email.
Yeah.
So that way.
Yeah.
So basically, this is like for fetching the users in
Yeah.
the database. So,
Oh, now I think I've gotten it.
yeah. Okay, so maybe you can test with this one or this one. Let me just refresh it. You can see it has fetched so far one. Sydney, this
Yeah.
is my email.
Yeah.
And when you go to the database, our database, the one you understand at least, this is our table SQL test.
Yeah.
Let me just open it. Users table. You can be able to see we only have one field.
Yeah.
One row Sydney. So assuming, let me just try to add from this side, then we see if it will directly show in our app. We can say Ryan Ngure. Then we say Ryan at gmail.com. Then let's go ahead and save it. So once I go ahead and refresh, you can see we have both of them.
Yeah.
So it's really pulling data from the database as it's now able to display it in the front end.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is
Back ended.
yeah. So this is the read part.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's able to read from the other side to this other side.
Yeah.
Question: Are you getting?
I'm getting it, but I'm clearly going to need to do this code on my own to understand it better.
Yeah. Then maybe you can also we can do a recap sometimes later.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm understanding the concept.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
basically we just have we have our front end of which it's HTML, good CSS, and some Bootstrap. Then we
yeah,
need to have some understanding of how to interact with the database. That is where now the JS comes in, and the inner HTML parts come in with the JavaScript, because the JavaScript is able to do the manipulation here and there. Then the small PHP file that I've given you is basically assisting us interact with the database, basically
yeah,
calling the database name, the port, and all that, so that we can really query from the other side. Let me show you one thing. Once we if we turn off the this one, we are
hmm,
off, and we try to refresh the page. You can see even you can't access the site can't be reached.
yeah,
Uh, okay, let me try and just put Apache on alone. You can be able to see the site now, but you can't get the data.
yeah,
That's what I was telling you. Apache deals with now the hosting aspect and server management. But now MySQL, once I put it on, it will be able to pull the data saved in the database.
yeah.
So when I refresh, you can see.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I don't want to work with edit and delete for now. Or can we also go rush through it? Or I show you just how to create CRUD.
Yeah, to create crude.
Okay, back to our code. Okay, there's this edit user and delete user of which they're not. Okay, I think we can just finish them. Then I'll share with you the code. Then you can be able to work around. Then you can once we meet again, you can tell me what you tried and where you had issues maybe.
Yeah.
So this one is
Mm-hmm.
able to do two things. It's able to maybe create or update,
Yeah.
because there's this action.
Mm.
And you see, there's there's an if else statement here. I think you should also. It's called the dot operator.
There's an I didn't even see that.
Because it's telling us if there's an ID, then the action is update.
Oh, else
Else,
create.
yeah. Else, the only option is else. If there's no ID, the option is create.
Yeah,
The action is create. So there are two things. Because I've told you to creating, you don't need an ID because an ID will be auto generated and it will add from the top that from the last ID. But update will update an existing ID.
yeah,
Yeah. So it's basically telling us if this one if an ID exists, then the action is update, else is create. So basically it's telling us if there's an ID, this one will work only for updating. For creating, we don't need that. So we can be able to get the document element by ID, of which it's here, ID name
yeah,
and email. We can be able to get that. Then these are the values. They are the values. Then if the method, if the action is update, we go ahead and update, else is creating. So basically this one is just to post the data, to send the data, and you can see this is the body. You have the action, either if it's update or delete.
yeah,
If it's update, of course, there's ID reference there. Then if it's creating, it's just name and the email. Just that way, then it's able to go ahead and save. We can
yeah,
try something small here. Gregory. Just the name. Then you can say Gregory at gmail.com. Success. You remember this? You told me the pop-ups.
yeah.
So once I click on save, you can see it has saved Gregory at the bottom.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and when you go to our database, remember we had only two. Right now you have three.
yeah,
Once we maybe try Michelle, that way it has
yeah,
added on the front end. Then when we refresh our backend, let me refresh. It's also there. I hope you can see.
yeah,
And I hope you can see there's consistency with the ID, even how they're being generated. Three, four, five, six. You can't have one ID for both.
yeah,
So maybe the last thing, leave this edit alone. The last thing is delete user.
yeah,
Basically, to delete a user is to remove their data in the database. And I told you to delete a user, we need first of all to know which user we want to delete them from the list of Sydney, you, Ryan, Michelle, and all that. So the most unique thing that you can use here is the ID. So we need to get the user's ID. Once you've gotten the user's ID, now you can go ahead and work around on deleting it.
yeah,
And of which, so you'll understand this part. We'll talk to crew.php, then put the action as delete and the ID as the unique parameter. Then this part, the delete part in the PHP will basically delete user where ID is equals to 1, 2, or 3. Basically, it's that
yeah,
way.
yeah,
So that when you go here and have a list of users, then we delete Sydney, you can see once I click OK, Sydney is not there. And once I refresh my database, I can't
oh,
see Sydney there.
yeah.
So yeah, basically just that way.
Okay, yeah. And then the IDs also remain consistent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I've understood.
So basically, I think we've done a lot. I don't know unless you have a question.
No. I think the rest I'll have to figure it out like on my own as I'm practically doing it. Yeah.
So no question.
No question.